Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, coming again today, you're very welcome. I trust you enjoyed my last video from Jamiroquai, and through that acid jazz 90s outfit we looked at when are we going to learn. So I trust you found that one encouraging. Well, I put up about 3 videos a week in this channel. Normally, I don't know why these particular days, Tuesday, Friday and Sunday. And normally I've got about 2 or 3 videos up my sleeve ready to go, but I must admit, where I'm actually recording this video for the next one that I put up, which will be on Sunday. So I thought I'd better get and do it. Absolutely enjoying doing this, I must admit. Well, we're going to 1948 in Czechoslovakia, Prague, as it was known back then, now the Czech Republic. This guy started playing piano at the age of 4, and then went on to have some formal lessons. So a bit of a child prodigy here, really, in lots of ways. And then he actually went on to the Premier Academy for Music Arts in Prague, where he actually learned his trade. He then moved to New York and he continued on his training at the Berklee College of Music. The guy we're talking about is Jan Hammer, or Jan Hammer, I think is how you say his name. He started keyboard, absolutely a progressive rock keyboard, just in so many ways a revolution when it comes to keyboards. Very much got the Mini Moog synthesizer onto the live stage. He had a lot to do with that, that early synthesizer thing, because it was around the early 1970s that he became part of the Mahavishnu Orchestra. And these guys a bit of a blend of jazz fusion, and they did around 530 shows until they finished up in 1973. We've got a live version here of You Know, and here see Jan on the keyboards, and you can already see this guy's an absolute force of nature when it comes to playing keyboards, and so it's good to get him right back where it all started for him. In 1976, he actually featured with the artist Jeff Beck. There's a bit of a relationship between those two. In fact, I'm going to get on to Jeff Beck next time. Funny how these things work out. Wasn't planned, it's just where we're heading next time. We've got a live version of Blue Wind from 2016, a little bit later on in Jan's career. 1982, teamed up Al de Meola. We've got a live version of Advantage. Again, you can get to see how not only is he so good at complementing what other people are doing, he's also good at taking the lead as well, sometimes mirroring what the lead guitar is doing, absolutely. But we get to the 1980s. Now, the 1970s were all about disco, pretty much. The Beatles had done their things in the 1960s. 1970s, we had some pretty big acts coming out. Disco. Think about Saturday Night Fever in 1977, changed the world, one of the highest selling soundtracks of all time. And so around that late 1970s, early 1980s, we were starting to get into a bit of new wave. Arenas were getting bigger. And the 1980s was a decade of decadence, a decade of suave, a decade of cool, a decade of just icons and stars just being plastered on walls in bedrooms. And this little show came out in 1984. Now, when you think about television in the 1980s, the show you think about is Miami Vice. Now, Miami Vice was the well-worn, I suppose, formula of 2 cops doing whatever they do, this time on the pretty rampant streets of Miami. Now, the minute you put cops in around the coast, you're going to have girls in bikinis, you're going to have the whole suave jacket, open shirt thing, cool sunglasses, and of course the cool car going along with it. Miami Vice was a massive series in the 1980s. In fact, it went for 5 seasons and around 90 episodes. Well, such an iconic show like this one was going to need an iconic theme song. And they thought to themselves, well, who on earth are we going to get to do this? And they knocked on Jan Hammer's door, and the rest is history. This particular song soundtrack went to #1. It sold 4 million copies, and this particular song won 2 Grammy Awards, one of the few awards that Jan Hammer would win. We've got an official clip and a live clip below. The official clip's pretty funny, actually. We've got a little bit of Jan being on the run himself. And I think I was trying to work out where to go with this guy today, and I think I had to go back to the name, Hammer. Now, when you think about a hammer, what do you do with a hammer? Well, you hit it, you hit a nail into wood with it, right? Or if you turn it around the other way, you use the claw, you might get a nail out. The whole thing about a hammer, particularly if you know what you're doing and you're not going to hit your fingers, is you know exactly how to hit the hammer so it gets the nail in a couple of bangs, and it's actually in there. There's absolute confidence and absolute assurance that the hammer's going to do what it needs to do. It's not going to collapse, it's not going to break, it's not going to collapse in your arms. It's going to hit that nail, it's going to hit it in and hit it in and hit it in until it's in the wood. And I think the concept of looking at life a little bit like a hammer and hitting a nail into something, well, if you think about a nail, hitting a nail is life. A hammer is we're actually impacting on our life to make it the best we can. And we don't want to go thinking, oh, well, I just kind of hold the hammer up towards the top where the middle is. That's called choking the hammer. We've got to hold it back at the end of the hammer so that when we hit the nail, obviously hitting it just in the right place, we're going to whack it in really, really easily, using the natural lever of the hammer to do the work for us. And I think the parallel to life is an interesting one here, that we don't want to choke life, do we? Don't want to like have so rigid and so uptight and just so completely smothered we don't learn to live. No, we've got to let loose a little bit, and we've got to grab the end of the hammer. It's amazing where these videos go. And we've got to hit life with everything we've got. We've got to let the natural flows and ebbs of life actually take hold of us, as opposed to us trying to control them. And then when we do that, things just happen just a little bit easier. If we try and go into life thinking, hey, I'm going to control it the best I can and make the most of it and actually run everything, well, it's just not going to work. Better thing we can do is to go with the flow, let loose of the grip right at the front, right at the end, and just let the natural flow of life do its thing. If we try to choke life, it's not going to work. The best thing we can do is to go with the flow, and when we do that, life will be so far more rewarding. There's nothing like getting a nail into a bit of wood straight. The last thing you want to do is, you're starting off crooked, next one it's got into a bit of wood crooked, and then it takes you half an hour to get the nail out because it's just a bit of an angle. We don't want to do that with life, do we? We want to hit the nail in straight. I think Jan Hammer in 1984, he knew he was on a good thing with Miami Vice, and he needed to complement that show with the ferocity and just the suaveness of the whole thing. And when you listen to it, it's not even musical, it's just this beautiful synthetic synthesizer based thing that just really, really captures the vibe of Miami Vice so well. So let's not choke life. Let's go with life. Let's not try to control life. Let's follow life and do what we need to do to make life the most exciting we can be. And so let's not let's hit hammers in. Let's hit nails in straight. Absolutely. And complimenting in 1991, we got Sonny Crockett's theme also from Miami Vice, a live version of that one. Now, Jan Hammer's had a pretty amazing career. He's had 25 albums in his own right. There's been many collaborations as well. He's estimated to have sold around 330,000 albums. For someone who doesn't sing, that's not bad. He's involved in 14 movie soundtracks. There were 19 Miami Vice episodes that he was part of, and 20 Chelsea, a show that came out a little bit later, 20 episodes of that one. So, and he's won a few Grammy Awards and a few other awards. So this guy, when it comes to synthesizer, this guy is absolute royalty, composing royalty. And so it's great to give this guy a bit of a go today. So the links to those 5 clips in the description below, and I've also included my last video from Jamiroquai, so if you want to recap on them, feel free. Well, if this is your first time to Life Reflections Through Music, or you're coming back for another one, how great to see everybody here. That's it for today. Next time, as I've already said, we're going to get on to Jeff Beck. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.